Hello, it's me, Annalisa. Even with ponytail, I'm gonna be fussing with my hair. How are you? Doot, doot. It's Sunday. I haven't been here in a couple weeks. I apologize. I'm Annalisa, psychic medium, spiritual servant. I haven't been here because I think it was Memorial Day weekend, and then I completely forgot that. Just turning this little heater down. That last weekend we had a camporee with my daughter and we spent the night. It was like the first time we'd done that. And I planned on coming back on Sunday because we were back in time and like going live, no big deal. But then, and I didn't have any service to send out an email and let anybody know. But so I have a pretty specific diet I have to eat. And I try to be like, I can usually find stuff to eat. Like, so if I go gluten free, I can usually find stuff that's like no dairy and everything else. And then the meal that they had on Sunday, there was like no way around it. Um, And so it had dairy. It was gluten free, but it had dairy, and my stomach was killing me by the time I got home. And I didn't have the right medicine, and I didn't want to take an antihistamine and then drive because it was like an hour drive, and I would have been way too sleepy. So I just was not comfortable enough to do readings, and like my stomach really hurt, and I needed to take an antihistamine, and then I was really tired. So, anyways, I'm back. I hope everybody's well. My daughter made me this tie dye shirt as one of her Girl Scout little activities was tie dyeing. And I picked up a shirt for her to tie dye for me because her older sister did that the year, 2 years before, 3 years before. Um, Sorry, I have this nail that's like okay. Anyway, sorry for the noise. Um, so that's what I've been up to, and then like very busy this week with multiple eye doctor's appointments for two of my kids and figuring things out. Anyway, so I hope everybody is well. I brought cards with down this time to do some card readings. If you guys want to do those, I've got the Inner Child, the Green Witch's Oracle deck. I've got messages from your angels and spirit animal Oracle deck. If you guys want to do any of those, you don't have to pay for them. We just do them. Have fun. Hi, Allie. How are you? Davri, if you're here, I still have a reading from a couple of weeks ago Memorial Day weekend when you paid for one and then I didn't do lives. And I really did plan on being here last weekend. And I just was like, I was really tired because I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before we went down. We went there and we drove in, and you have to get there pretty early in the morning. And there's just like lots of activities and fresh air and lots of rain and mud, lots of mud. And then I had to be so the other moms were like, you have to go to sleep. And I was like, all right, heads in bed. So I'm coming in, checking in it, coming back to check. only one head per bed. Because I'm like, one of the little girls got up and climbed in another bed. And they're like 8 and 9 years old. They're little. So I was like, you have to get some sleep. You had long days. And you have, Monday you have school. So you need to get a good night's sleep. So you're not super tired tomorrow. Whatever. It was really the moms wanted to go to bed. So anyways, I hope everybody's well. Say hello if you're here. Tell me who's here. What else is new? Let's see. I said Elon would be leaving in May. I was right. There's been some predictions out there that Trump is gonna on the 20th of this month. I don't see that happening. I said, and this is like astrologers who are looking at charts and they're like, it's like, I can't even believe he's still alive is sort of the consensus. And I'm like, I mean, some of the worst people just seem to survive everything. They just like run their body. Not that I'm saying Mick Jagger is a terrible person because I don't know anything really about him at all, but like that man really put his body through a ringer and he's still kicking, right? Hi, Lauren Jane. How are you? Hi, Jules. My own grandfather survived so much stuff. He drank so much, smoked like 4 packs of cigarettes a day. Like literally, you just have to be constantly smoking. And he still lived into his 80s. Had colon cancer, did not kill him. So, hi, Catherine. You told me many months ago when I was worried if I would get funded. You said that I would get funded with some grants, and they were just waiting to be sure they get the money. 2 $4,000 grants for the summer. Yay! Congratulations. I'm so glad it came through. 1, because I like being right, but 2, because also yay for you, right? Yay for you. Um, so I think it's more of like a death of power rather than like actual physical kerplooiness. Um, I just, I don't know. I mean, I also think like when people are like, "Oh, I hope he goes," I'm like, but like, do you understand how like who comes in after that? Like, right? Like, you understand how that all works? And I still, like I said, I still had that visualization that by 2026 they just are like kind of flattened out and deflated. There's not a lot of power there. Um, I think some of the like back and forth they're having, yeah, some of it's real, but some of it they both know PR stuff. Like they're both. I mean, Trump is is a showbiz guy. He's not really a businessman. He's a showbiz, and he likes a good show. He's a good con man. They like a good act. So I think that's kind of some of that comes out there, and some of it is his dementia and whatever. I got another community violation on TikTok for saying that someone was like, because I really despise when people say that Elon is autistic, because I'm like, he is a schmoshio smash. Like he's a social. And they have flat affects a lot of the time, and they're socially awkward. And I don't know. I don't want him roped in with like all the really good people who are autistic. Guess I take it personal. Anyways, does anybody have any questions? Is Devery here today? If you guys just want, I won't charge you for it. If you guys want to do little card readings, we can do that. I don't really care. If you want to start with general questions, if nobody has a paid question, that's fine too. We can do it that way. We can mix it up, be a little crazy, especially since I haven't been here. And this morning we went and saw Mission Impossible 18 million. It was really good. It's really long. But it was good. It didn't feel as long as it is. It's like 3 hours. And it was like part 2. I was like, how, like, really? This is like, oh, sure. Allie, did you donate? Go ahead. You could go. Sure. I don't know why I didn't get a notification. I wonder if I have the wrong PayPal thing set up. That's probably what it is. I have the wrong one logged in, I think. Yeah, I have the wrong one logged in. Hang on. Your mom's finally looking for other doctors, and right now she is looking for a psychiatrist. Will things get better for her? Yeah, does she have like a respiratory thing she's getting over or dealing with? Just because I just felt like as I was reading, I'm like, or is she a smoker? There's just something where I felt tight in my lungs. So the psychiatrist thing, I feel like it takes a minute to get her meds sort of figured out. Because I almost feel like if she's on one, it's the wrong one. So if they what you know of now, okay. If she's on something, just like a mood stabilizer, it feels like it's like not the right one. Or they put her on one and it's not the right one. So it's going to take a little bit longer. It's not like they find the magic combo for her right away and then she's good. There's also like, I feel like the psychiatrist is going to recommend therapy. I gathered that you meant no with the respiratory stuff. I just felt really like tight there. So, or are you dealing with that? But I think it's your mom. I feel like therapy is going to be recommended. And I also feel like it's not going to really be that helpful because I feel like your mom's in a bit of denial. There's a lot of refusal to take accountability. So they're really going to look at like mood stabilizers. And I also don't feel like she'll be forthcoming with like what she's taking or why they're giving it to her. they might put her on trazodone or something like that to help with sleep, but it's actually like categorized as like, I think it's an antipsychotic, but um, off-label uses for sleep. But I think it might actually help more than you realize. But it feels like it's like not maybe the first thing they put her on, maybe like the second thing they put her on. She does have some physical stuff going on with her that's like not mental health stuff. Because I feel real achy in my hips and like I keep hearing like fibromyalgia or something like that. Like there's something with connective tissue that's creating like some achiness. And I feel like she's getting sort of pawned off as having I mean, I think here's the thing, like older generations, even some older Gen Xers, therapy is seen as like why be in touch with your emotions? And really it's sort of like learning to process the world and like go, oh yeah, like that's about me, that's not about me. This is stuff that's in my control, this is stuff that's not in my control. And then how do I process this? How do I deal with it? Because just like with anything, unless you have like someone to kind of teach you and walk you through it, like when you do it on your own, sometimes it's like not the most refined, right? And like sometimes are like I'm a verbal processor. So like I want to talk my way through things and like I don't necessarily need somebody else to tell me. Like I annoyed a lot of my friends who do readings and stuff because I'd be like, I'd ask them a question and they give me an answer. I'm like, no, that's actually not right. Like they're like, why did you ask that? I'm like, because I needed to say it out loud to somebody else in order to hear my guys like answer me. Because for whatever reason I couldn't get out of my like head. It was just probably honestly very annoying and probably very frustrating, or I needed to hear them say it the wrong way. And I go, but just trust me, that's not because I think you're wrong all the time. It's just because I needed to hear it that way in order to know intuitively the right answer. So I don't know. I think people don't really know what therapy is when they're resisting it, right? Because they think it's like going to go in there and like they're broken or there's something wrong with them. And therapy is like, even when I went to my therapist, I went to her for 4 years weekly. And she was like, at a point, she's like, why are you still coming? And I was like, because I like talking to somebody who has to listen. I feel guilt free about asking you to listen and just trauma dumping all over you. And like a lot of my healing from that didn't come right as I was going through it. It was like kind of growing beyond it and then realizing like, oh, okay. Like, so like going through all this other stuff, sort of like, okay, got it. Like it's definitely peeling an onion. They ask her silly questions. Sometimes it feels like they ask silly questions. Yeah. Sometimes they do. And validate that for her. She's like, yeah, sometimes they do ask silly questions. Mm-hmm. But because sometimes it helps you like jog other things that are kind of coming up. And sometimes it's to kind of figure out like I know some of the things my therapist said to me, like now I'm like, oh, I think she said that to me to see what my emotional reaction would be to that. Like, why was I not getting angry about something that like most normal people would be like, what the fuck? Like I didn't react that way. Right. Where I was like always holding myself accountable and thinking like, oh, maybe she's right. Maybe like, instead of like things that normally would be like, excuse me. Uh, where like I walked out being like, I wonder if she thought I was like making like, and it's like, oh no, I had like classic symptoms of trauma and abuse, like, and didn't like. You tell her it's an opportunity to express what you feel because speaking to a professional, and not it's not even just about speaking to a professional. You can say it's about speaking to someone who is trained to be able to maybe walk you through steps and help you be able to like understand your emotions and how to process them and like maybe even how to communicate. And also, it's someone that is not emotionally attached to you. So they're not going to be offended by what you say. They're just going to like hear you in a very non judgmental space. I mean, they might judge quietly. I have therapists who are clients, and if anybody wants to chime in, you might actually be judging somebody, but you like don't say that, right? Because we're all human. when I came out of nursing school, they were like, you have to be non-judgmental. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how do you not judge people? And you get to a point where I think when you do a lot of your own inner work, where you kind of go like, oh yeah, we just like all have stuff. You can do it a little. And I think that's why also therapists have to be in therapy while they're doing the work, because they're having to process their own stuff and they're having to process other people's stuff. And they need to like make sure they're in a healthy space too. So I would say to her, this is like what I told my mom when she had to do a little bit of therapy. And I just said, like, I can listen about when you're struggling, because we had issues. Like, we are not in no contact with my sisters, but this was before she was no contact. I just said, but I don't think I'm a good person for you to look for advice from about this, because I don't know if I'm coming from a non-biased space in what I'm saying. Like, I know what my therapist would say, but I'm not really sure if this is like, so you need to go to somebody and make sure you're getting advice from somebody who's like absolutely not biased and is going to come from the best space possible. Like, I don't think it's fair for me to be the one kind of making recommendations, because maybe there's some, like, I was like, maybe there's some subconscious thing that's like, yeah, cut them off. Like, and I don't want to be giving you that advice if that's not really, coming from the right space. And so that's what you can say to her. It's like, it's just about talking to someone that's not going to be emotionally wrapped up or offended by anything you say. You could just be like, yeah, my daughter was a total B today. You could just tell her that. Like, I tell my kids, like, when we talk about like doing therapy, like maybe, and they're like, okay, I was like, it's just somebody to talk to. So if you're mad at me, which you're allowed to be mad at me, you have a space to say it and not worry about what's going to come out from that. To like make it to her benefit, not like it's a professional. Because sometimes when we think professionals, we think, oh great, they're like totally judging us and like how much better they are. And it's like, no, they're people. I am super grateful I did therapy, and I would go again. I have, because again, I guess I got to, like, by definition, I was neglected severely as a child. And so like one of my ways of like working over is allowing, like, feeling comfortable, like taking up space, because like, when you're neglected, it's hard to do that. Or feeling, that you're allowed to do that. So that's like where I'm like, yeah, I would totally go to therapist again, because I don't like ever want to trauma dump on people. I don't know. Too much information? Probably. But so that's like, what I would say if I was you, to kind of help her feel like, comfortable. Hi, Jewel88. How are you? Does anybody else have any questions? Oh, your second question is see, this is where I need to like log on and be like, who paid for it? And hang on, give me a second. Oof. Oh, Nicole, I got you here too. Okay, cool. All right, Allie and Nicole, and then Catherine paid for 3 readings. Is that right? And Julia paid for a reading. Okay. My apologies for like not seeing all these earlier, by the way. Let me find my little listy list thing. I'll go back and forth and I'll put these on the thing. Okay. Your second question is, maybe I should see 1, 2, because my hypothyroidism. I'm always feeling tired, and simple things feel like a lot of work. You could see a therapist, but I think a lot of that too is going to come with getting on the right medication and also making sure your vitamin D level is high enough. You might not be absorbing, like, so your doctor may be giving you an amount. So make sure that they're also checking your vitamin D with that because they're very closely connected. Um, that like immediately I kept getting your vitamin D is low. Like that's really important to get that checked along with that. But what is your question? Because that's not really a question. It's just, I mean, I think therapy is great, especially if it's like it's just another way to work on the self thing. As long as I feel like as long as you find somebody that's like, for me, I wanted somebody who was like, A, not going to just be quick to like diagnose, even though they have to have some stuff for insurance purposes. So I have no idea what she diagnosed me with. Uh, I don't know. My therapist didn't like, she was like, we worked on like a lot of communication stuff, doing communicating in healthy manners, not because I was always just worried I wasn't communicating well. Um, Things like that. And then processing through like trauma. Yeah, just ask them to draw the levels along with it because even though you're taking it, they might have to tweak the amount based on like whatever you're left, like your levels aren't coming up high enough. Same thing with your thyroid stuff. Like if you're still feeling really tired and like not motivated and things like that, there's something else that needs to be tweaked. So they need to be checking your thyroid levels. I think I can't remember if it's like there's like not just T3, T4, there's something else. Make sure they're check your hormone levels too. Like check your B12, your B6, your folate, check your vitamin D. Like check everything is what I'm saying to you because that's not going to be like if you already know you have hypothyroidism, that's most likely what it's connected to, and all of those things are interconnected. Like don't dismiss it as a mental thing when it's an actual physical thing. Women get dismissed all the time as something being like anxiety or depression when it's like, oh no, like you genuinely had endometriosis. It's like, like, oh, you're making up the pain. Like, no, you had endometriosis that's like actually now connected into your diaphragm and your peritoneum and all of that stuff. Yeah, message them about it. Or the other thing is that maybe they're not giving you enough of the Synthroid. You might need to go up in your Synthroid dose. If that's what you're taking. But I don't know that that's a psychic question. That just feels like knowledge I have from being a nurse. And like liking to read medical stuff or learn about medical stuff. Okay, Catherine. So you come up with a second question. Catherine, will I get back into the counseling program? And if so, will it be hard or will I graduate from it? Not attached to outcome, just curious. Okay, where to put your energy. Okay. You actually went down because it was giving me heart palpitations. Then there's something other level that's off. I really genuinely don't feel like that's a like you have depression thing. I feel like there's something connected to your level. So maybe it's something that needs to be compounded because you're just in between two doses. So like if it comes in like you either can get like 10 or 20 and you need just talk to them because it probably just needs to be refined more. And compounding is where like the pharmacy basically turns it into a liquid and then they can give you like they can titrate it and give you a totally different, I don't know explain it, but like you take the pills and you mash them up in a certain amount of fluid, whatever fluid they use, I don't know, water, saline, who knows. And then I don't know, whatever. And then you can just draw up a very specific amount that's like instead of being like only 10, you could get like 7.5. I don't know what the dosing is for Synthroid. Okay. All right. So, Han, you want to know if you'll go back into the counseling program, and if so, will it be hard, or will you graduate from it? Okay. So I feel like you'll go back into it. I don't feel like it's going to be hard the way you think it's going to be hard, but I also feel like I'm not as excited about it as I thought I would be. Yes, you'll graduate from it, but I also feel like you'll use it in a different way than you expected to use it. So it's not necessarily that you're going to be like go out there and just start your own practice. You may work for somebody for a little bit, but I feel like you're going to use it. And not that I'm saying this is exactly what you're going to do, but it's like maybe I use that ability and then I go into being a life coach instead of a therapist because I feel like what I learned I can use in a different way. And I know that's like not exactly because you're like, well, I don't need counseling, but it's like I feel like it. I don't know if it's like feels like it legitimizes it for you, or you feel like it's becomes a dual skill thing, something. You're wanting to be an author, so maybe use it to be an author. But I just don't feel like yeah, I feel like it will like, it helps, but it's like I don't feel like I go into it and I'm like, I'm a therapist and I have a whole bunch of clients. I feel like I use it toward like even though if you were a life coach, you'd be have clients, but it's just like I feel like I use it, but not in the way that's traditional. Um, and again, I don't feel like it's hard or that you won't graduate. I actually feel just unenthusiastic about it. It just feels like kind of like I don't align with a lot of the teachings kind of feeling. So it's not that exciting. Um, Allie, you need to do something. You need to, and I never tell people what they need to do, but I'm telling you, you need to. Oh, well, I guess I did tell you. You need to go back and get your levels changed. Stop calling it your future partner because then it will always be your future. It'll never be your present. It always like energetically keeps it out here a little bit more. And that sounds weird, but from a manifesting perspective, if our assumptions create a reality, that's like sort of the request you're always making. Yeah, Kay, you can be on the list. Don't worry. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think of things that way until I see them, and I'm like, oh. If it's like not like of concern to me, then I'm like, huh, I might do that differently. Well, I swear to God, I'm not yawning until I'm in this chair. Then I'm like, "Arr." Maybe my nervous system relaxes because it's like quiet. Will nonfiction or I'm going to come back to you, Allie. Will nonfiction or fiction get me into Master of Fine Arts? Like, not where will I end up, but got you. Um, I actually feel like it's going to be fiction that gets you there. Um, and I know this is going to sound weird, but I see like I don't know if it's the book or the feeling of like a young girl or a young woman and gardens. I keep seeing like just uh, it's just flowers upon flowers upon flowers and a young girl. Like I don't know, it's like a book cover kind of feeling. You're into oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's what I feel like. I don't feel like it's and it's funny, I wanted to lean towards saying nonfiction, then I was like listening, and they're like, no, fiction. And they made me feel like a not like Anne of Green Gables or nothing weird like Flowers in the Attic, but like just it's a feeling of like light and airy and easy. Maybe she's someone who sees the world differently. I don't know. And I just keep feeling like it's like springtime or summertime setting. Like the weather is more. Oh, you just maybe that's why I saw the summer. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Kay, I'll check the donation. And I've got Cindy on here too. Okay. Did I make a list here? Let me make a list quick. Is AI where I should focus my creative writing? Wait, Alabama or AI? Sorry, I just think that's important for me to clarify. Those are two very different things. Where should creative writing? Oh, okay, AI. Core competencies for teaching, or is it not where I should be focusing? Can you clarify what that means? Because in my head, the question means, should I use AI to do my writing? And what is cyberpunk? Sorry. No, okay, no, that's not what you mean. See, this is why I'm like, I don't know, because then that's like the question I ask in my head, if that's what I think it is, and then it's like, no, that's not, like, and then you won't get the answer that you want. If you didn't know this about me, I'm very detail oriented. I over explain things like to a nauseating level because I want to make sure there's no lack of clarity. Like a genre. Oh, okay. Okay, I got that. All right. As an English teacher. Okay. All right. I don't think it's going to be like a main focus, but I do think it will be something that you like as an English teacher that you'll cover, but I don't feel like it's a main focus. As a writer, I also don't. So the way it feels to me is if it comes up as a writer, I might write a series of books, like a YA series of books about AI, something like that, somehow intertwined this young girl and AI or whatever. But I don't feel like it's going to be everything I write about. And that's like all, like some writers in the spicy side of writing only write about like werewolves or fairies. And I think some of them branch out more. I could be wrong. And I don't think you're writing spicy stuff. So none of him pressing his bulging manhood. I'm just kidding. I always think it's funny how I get book talk stuff come across my thing, and there's like one book set where it's like you have to buy all 4 books. You can't just buy one book. But it's like the like teaser is like, and maybe you guys are on there, I don't know. But the teaser is something like, she accidentally fell asleep against this large man on a plane to Paris. And then he was like, get off of me because I won't be able to control myself. And she's like, what's going on? And he's like, I found my mate. And I'm like, well, that's romantic. Like weird. I don't know. And yet, people read that so just because it's like the equivalent of like I don't know, reality TV where it's like set up and you're like, I can't stop watching this garbage. like, like if you thought about that in real life, like how horribly scary that would be if you actually like fell asleep on the person next to you and they're like, I found my mate. I can't control myself. like, ugh. All right. In serious. En serio, en serio. All right. Allie, when are you gonna find your mate? Let's do yours. You're very welcome, Catherine. I found out that this is so fascinating. Speaking of reading, so like my middle daughter is always like, she's always had good grades, but the like all of her teachers since kindergarten have always complained like she's really slow. Like she does great work. She's a perfectionist, but she's really slow. And I'm like, I know. Like, what do you think it is at home? Like, we're always like, just like, and so part of my thing was to figure out like this functional eye exam. And it's like, she's like, no, she's really, really smart. Just, like she has 20/20 vision, but she has problems with convergence. Like, so focusing from far to near to far to like that back and forth is really hard for her. And then her eyes like overcross to try and compensate. And she gets really tired as part of her headaches. And she's been like having headaches where she has to come home and sleep for 3 hours in order to get through her day. And then there's something else, but she's like, she reads like if you like vertically, she reads what one speed and like horizontally, she reads at a total. She's much, much slower. So like there's all these like we're gonna get our 504, hopefully, all this stuff. But like I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I don't know. I don't know why I randomly went into this thinking about reading. I don't know. Sorry, random thoughts, brain going. Let's just keep moving on. Ignore me. Okay. Allie, let's answer your question about your partner. When are we meeting your partner? I mean, part of it is that you're not really putting yourself out there right now. I mean, I keep wanting to say like it's going to happen soon. Why aren't you putting yourself out there? Because even I feel like it's like I don't feel like I'm on any dating apps or really kind of putting myself out there, and I'm not doing any like finding a hobby that would maybe potentially introduce me to other people. And I don't feel like I feel like I'm being very introverted and not really going out much. So it's hard to meet people when I'm setting up all the barriers. Does that resonate when I say that to you? You're sleepy all the time when my mom is talking a lot of time. I get confused and overwhelmed. Okay, so we aren't in that mode of dating yet. So I honestly feel like you'll be feeling better. God dang it. Hang on, this is like doing weird things. Oh, it's so annoying. Okay. Hi Kiki Law, how are you? Um, I feel like genuinely. Now I know it's June and you're like, "Oh my god, I can't even imagine." I feel like by like February of 2026, you're kind of out of this and like starting to feel better. It doesn't mean that you're gonna feel bad physically forever. I feel like within the next 3 months, you're actually start kind of bounce back energetically. But I feel like it takes a little bit more time to where you're just like, okay, now I'm gonna put myself out there and I'm ready to go. I feel like that other median times like you're going to be dealing with stuff with family or sort of just getting back on your feet and finding your groove again. And then like into next year is where I start like I'm going to put myself out there and start dating and like feeling better about yourself energetically. if you look at your astrological chart, there's probably something where there's transits and stuff like that, which would tell you, yeah, right now this is the focus on you, sort of like getting back on your feet and all of that stuff, and then like kind of putting yourself out there and really putting yourself first. Um, I know for me, like there's this like these big transits over my chart right now. Like so I'm in Aries rising 0 degrees. So if you think about the way when they show you like Aries is the first house, Taurus is the second house, what like that's literally what my chart looks like because of the 0 degrees Aries rising. So like I've got Saturn and Neptune right over my rising sign. That's like who I show up as in the world. So there's like a lot of like that can mean, from what I understand, a lot of me sort of like putting myself first, figuring out like instead of taking like, this when it was when Saturn was in Pisces, I can't remember, but like all the stuff that was like sort of in my head, I sort of am like putting into action and out in the world and how it's going to show up and be. And Saturn's like more about Neptune is the more spiritual part, and like Saturn is the more organized part. And like, this is how we do it and get out there. So it's kind of like, and it's also about like my health and all that other stuff. And then also Jupiter is in Cancer, and it's also my natal Jupiter is in Cancer. So I don't know if that means it magnifies it or whatever. So there's like all these like big transits happening right now. And so there's a lot of awarenesses that happen. And I just feel like there's going to, over this next 6 to 8 months, it's going to be sort of like you are going to be a little bit more introverted and in your own space, not because you aren't going to be feeling well, but it's like, I'm not feeling well for a little bit. And then once I start feeling better, I sort of want to like now get reorganized. It's like when you're sick and you get behind on chores and things like that. And so then like you start to feel better and you're like, okay, now I've got to like catch up on the laundry and do all that stuff. That's kind of what I feel like that next period is, like this catch up period. And then I feel like, okay, I can breathe and I'm on. Okay, that's what I feel like I'm doing. I feel like it's important that I feel good, feeling like I got things in order. Today I was able to consolidate some of my date, so it feels like some progress. Data. Yeah, so it's like I just feel like that's kind of what is like this. There's like a period of like sort of catch up that happens. Oh, debt. That makes much more sense than date. One of my good friends is doing that, and she was my babysitter, and now she's my bunny sitter because we don't really go out much. So and um it's cute because like she was like she works 2 freaking full-time jobs, and I'm like, oh my god, you're killing me. She was like, I have the day off, do you want to go get breakfast? And I was like, oh my god, you want to spend your time off with me? I thought that was really sweet. But she's not doing it because she's like, I just don't want to be behind anymore. So she just wants to bang out, be done with the dead. I don't recommend it though. She's like sleeping 4 and 5 hours. I'm like, you're insane. Okay. Julia, are you here, or CB or K? Or Nicole? Wait. Yes, Nicole, I didn't answer your question. Nicole, Julia, CB or K? Yeah, you can have a general. I got it, K. Okay. Next year. It's definitely a next year thing. Like it's not going to happen this year only because I mean, you can change this, right? But next year, that's what I feel. Kay, I'm going to do yours after Nicole because mediumship just takes a tiny bit longer. Does that work for you? Okay. All right, Nicole, what do you? Nicole, when I feel into your energy, I just feel really off balance. Like, are you having a little bit of vertigo and headaches? Um, are you eating enough? I don't know if you like forget to eat or maybe you use it as a way to like, I don't know. Is there something with not eating enough? I just don't feel good. So I'm seeing a couple things, Nicole. It's hard for you to decide what to eat because I'm like, I just don't. I feel like you would need to like make sure you're feeding your body, please. So I saw, I was seeing like the house that you had sent me. I ended up like, look, because you gave me the address. So I looked it up because I'm like, let me look at it and see how I feel about this house. I do feel it like, I feel like you're going to be working with a new contractor on this. He feels younger, actually. He, uh, and I see you going to the shore this summer. So are you like, is there a feeling? It's like this feeling of like, I didn't think I'd be able to go do anything because I feel like I'm behind and then I'm dealing with this. But I do see you going to the shore for a little bit. I don't know if it's like I'm going for a weekend here and there and going back and forth, but I see you at the shore. I don't know if you're going to date the contractor, but there's somehow somebody connected to this house that you're going to end up dating them. So I don't know if it's the contractor or the electrician or, and there's nothing wrong with a blue collar guy. I keep getting something too with that wood. Like some of that wood needs to be replaced. That's in there. I mean, I know it's totally trashed out and torn, like it's totally like down to the studs. Um, some of that has to be replaced because I feel like there's like there was either mold there or there's something about mold with there. Does that resonate when I say that? Why is that funny? Wait, this one. This is the right side. Okay. Just got these like crazy hairs. I didn't feel like I got up this morning and my do you know the Rugrats mom? How her hair is like all like triangular and like weird? And my hair was like, because I'd gone to bed last night, I took a shower and later in the evening and I went to bed. And so like my hair didn't like curl normally. Like it did like super, super tight curls and like then was like sticking up funny. So I just like threw my hair in a pony. It's been raining a lot. There's a hole in there. Yeah. I just feel like there's mold in there. That's some of that's gonna have to be replaced. Like that's the one thing I kept getting with it. I still think you'll go through it. And I feel like it's not that big of a deal because it's so down to the studs that it's like not an issue, but I still feel like there's mold there. Well, I mean, not all men are terrible, so dating should be fun. And there's just I've been saying this for a while. You'll know I've been saying this for a while that there's a transition for men just in general about learning about, there's like the loneliness, the male epidemic of loneliness. I think that's more about like learning that like, oh, what I was taught was actually about what men and women are was actually really harmful, not only to women, but to men as well. No worries, Julia. You're still on the list. We didn't forget you. And it has been raining a lot here. There's been, let's see, we were supposed to have a movie night at my daughter's middle school as an end of the year thing that I volunteered to chaperone. But I haven't really done anything for her school at all this year. So I felt like, even though I'm her trip leader, so it's like not like I'm not doing anything. And then Saturday we were supposed to have like a little carnival at my other daughter's school, and those are all moved to this week now because of the rain. Oh my God. So Friday, my little one had a little last Girl Scout meeting of the year. And I get to the park and everybody's like staring up at this tree. And I'm like, what? It's like they're an alien in the tree? Not really. Somebody's macaw got out and flew, like they lived across the street from the park, and that flew into this tree. It was like 30 feet up. She's like, he's a baby. He doesn't like to fly. He's never learned to fly. He's 5. So granted, they are babies, but I'm like, clearly he knows how to fly now. Like that. Like, so I like kept visualizing like that he got down and he's back in her arms. Like I kept visualizing it. And he liked being called a pretty boy. It was really cute. But then like I found out like after we left, because I left to go hang out with my middle daughter while they were all playing, and there was other parents there and stuff like that. And then one of the other moms was going to bring my daughter home, and I got a text that he got down, and I was like, because I was like, he's gonna come home with you tonight. I was just like manifesting it for them, but I was like trying to send him telepathic messages, like just fly down to your mommy. Devry, you are on the list, but you're not on the list. Like I knew you. I said at the very beginning that I still owed you a question, so I'm throwing you on here. I just forgot to type you in here, but you were not forgotten. So yeah, he was very pretty. Okay, so I'm going to do Kay now, and then Devry, I can do your question since you've been waiting 2 weeks. Does that work for you? Okay, so Kay wanted to know about her grandfather. I'm looking for his name. Charlie. I heard he has a very distinct, deep voice, but it's like kind of loud. CB, you did not miss your turn. So does that resonate when I'm talking about Charlie? Charlie has a big boisterous laugh. I feel like he's a big guy. Like it's weird. He might not be tall, but there's like a big guy feeling to him. Does that and he's wearing like a short sleeve button down blue and white shirt. It's like I don't know, what do you call it? Plaid. He was a military officer. Okay. He has like big guy energy, and then I'm like, but I feel confused. I don't know if you're really that tall or if you just have that big guy energy. There's just some people, like, even if they're tiny, you cannot miss them in a room. Like they walk in a room and they just they just take like the front stage. Like, that's the feeling I have with him. He has sparkly eyes. There's something about sparkly eyes, and I asked if he had any advice for you, and he's kind of like, no, like you always did your own thing. And he really enjoyed watching you march to the tune of your own drum. He just enjoyed watching you be a little bit different and sort of is he mom's dad? Because he's saying give your mom a run for her money, meaning you were smart, so you couldn't just be told no. Like you weren't, it's not that you weren't good at following rules, but you questioned rules. I feel like your mom, get, your mom and him butted heads a lot, and I think that's why he enjoyed you kind of ruffling her feathers a bit. And he keeps just saying he's proud of you. He said like you knew your limits. It's not like you went into stupid things, but you were okay with questioning authority. I think that that's what people don't realize about the military is he's saying he's like, yes, I trained them, but I also reminded them like that they are supposed to question authority. Like he trained younger. He's making me feel like it's mostly men that he trained um, coming up. But he said, but I also trained them to question authority because that's how your grandfather really believed in the Constitution. And he took a lot of pride in what he did. And he's sort of saying, like, it's good that you question things, though he says you would not have been cut out for the military. He's making me feel like he had stomach issues or what he thought was stomach issues, but was actually his heart. Like there's an interesting connection because I feel it in my stomach, but he's also talking about heart stuff. And he's not somebody that didn't take his health seriously. I feel like he was even when he retired, he was still very physically fit. Um, I think he thought he had one thing and it was like ended up being another, is what he's making me feel like. He goes, I was tough, I wasn't stupid. So he didn't ignore stuff. Um, he's I mean, genuinely, he doesn't feel like he has advice for you, as in like you should be doing this or that. Like he's saying like you've always had a good head on your shoulders. Do you have a daughter? Because he's talking about a great granddaughter. Did you have a miscarriage? There may come a point when you're in a relationship with somebody who either your mom had a miscarriage. Maybe, but I feel like this is somehow connected to you. So if you didn't have a miscarriage, you didn't have, there may be somebody coming into your life that comes in with a daughter, or you have a daughter together. Maybe you're not the one who carries, but because he's talking about it like as ownership for him as a great granddaughter. Was your mom further along when she had her miscarriage? Is that how there's the name? She was supposed to have a daughter, but she passed. Gotcha. I mean, that could be it. I'm not going to say no. I always worry about when you say that afterwards, and I'm like, I thought this was more connected to you. And And so I don't want to jump and be like, yes, that's what it is, because then I feel like it's like cold reading, and I don't want to. So it's like, yes, that could be it. I'm not 100% on it. But there's also a connection to you being a mother to a daughter. So maybe it's not your own, maybe it's a partner that comes in that has children already, or you decide to have a daughter together. Thank you, Regine. I was at the beginning, I said how like there was Memorial Day, and then last weekend we had a camporee, and I was like, off the grid. Basically, there was like no service. And I did pretty good eating all weekend. I was able to eat food that was like fine food that was like, whatever. And the last meal there, I was like, yes, it was gluten free, but there was like no way to get around the dairy. And, and I can eat some, like I can't eat anything aged, or unless I take an antihistamine or like a histamine blocker of some sort. And I had an antihistamine on there, but not the other histamine blocker I have that doesn't make me sleepy. And I did not want to take the antihistamine and then have to drive home. So then by the time I got home, I was just in a lot of pain and very uncomfortable. And I was like, I don't want to be in anybody else's energy when I feel like this. So I took the day off. I felt a girl, but I can be wrong. So I'll leave that open to interpretation, what he's telling me. And clearly he doesn't care if you're gay or not, because he didn't bring that up at all as an issue. So not that it is an issue, but I mean, it's not like he made like a highlight of it. I just don't think, I guess in all the connecting that I've done with Source and everything else, like it's such a weird human thing that anybody makes an issue of who you love. I feel like as long as it's not a weird like adult child thing, obviously, I don't see an issue with it. Also think it's kind of weird when people want to marry dolphins. I think there was some guy who married a dolphin. I think that's a little strange. I think out of species is strange. Because do they really have consent? I don't know. Yeah. Anyhow, he's kind of pulled his energy back, but he's like, I think his whole point was like, we think that we like our loved one has moved on and there's so much wisdom they're going to give us, and they're like, you're doing a great job. And I think that that's what you need to remember, like so many times, that like there's not much that they're going to give you. Even your guides are like, I mean, they can give you some wisdom and insight and stuff like that, like ways to move through business and things like that or whatever, but at the same time, like you learn so much through all of your baubles in life. Do you know about this future opportunity he's been telling me about from other readers to save money for? He didn't bring that up. What have other readers said? That's very interesting. So when I'm talking to him, he's sort of saying like, A, you're frugal anyway, so it's not like you're a spendthrift. B, the money will be there when you need it, and it's not something that you're going to have to like penny pinch for. I don't know what this opportunity is. It seems strange to me, and I'm just going to say this as a reader. Unless I can specifically say to you, this is the opportunity, I don't know. I just sort of always believe, I guess this is like the assumptions create your reality. Like, if you're supposed to have that, you'll be prepared for it when it comes. and it just seems so weird and ambiguous to say to somebody like, save a whole bunch of money for what? I don't know. It's an investment coming in. Okay. Like, I don't know. It feels like you'll have it. You'll have whatever you need when it comes in. I don't know. Sorry to be so like, I guess I always think like everybody has their own style of reading. I tend to be, I feel like a much more pragmatic reader. Um, and I think that like to me, it's like if I don't have the evidence for it, or like it has to be a lot of evidential stuff, and also um it has to be like easy to fit into life. Like I just think like shouldn't you just be saving in general? Like and I also think it's like when there's this existential thing out there or this potential for something like, well, how much should I be saving? Like I'm too much of the person. I was like, well, how much and how do I do this? And like, well, like I think it's weird to like, I don't know. It's this feeling of you'll have what you need when it comes in and not to worry about it. It doesn't mean, again, you don't have that. And he's like, she's not a spendthrift. This is not a woman who goes out and is just like wasting money on stuff. I feel like you're a very practical person. Like you request practical gifts for things. You're not like, hey, you know, I need that like $3,000 sweatshirt because it's the softest one ever made. You're like, yeah, I can do all the Gildan. Hi, Ollie. I'm glad you came across me too. Okay, Davri, what is your question, my dear? Thank you for your patience. Okay, Regina, I'll check for that. I think I hit at instead of to. My apologies. That's what I meant, though. Sheesh. I'm just reloading this to make sure that I didn't miss anybody else. Oh, Gia, I got you too. Let me add you in here. What's up, Buttercup?
One question. What is that?
Didn't he go to Costco and to ShopRite?
Oh, he did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Love you.
I'm gonna go get some.
You what?
I'm gonna go get a drink.
Okay. Love you, Buggy. Wait a second. Who? Hang on. I've got this on Top Chat instead of Live Chat. It's so annoying. Who made donations? Who donated? You donated. Are you Gia? Because I just said your name. If you are. And I've got okay. Hold on. I've got Gia and I've got Regine and Kay. Okay. Okay. So yes, Devery, I've got your question. Okay. So I actually feel like you're going to get offered something in like 2 weeks. I'm getting 2. So I'd like to think it's 2 weeks. It might be 2 months, but it feels sooner than that. So I don't know that you'll take it though. It feels like it's there's a lackluster feeling about it. Like maybe I put it out there, I applied for it, and it was sort of one of those things that's like sounds better than it really ends up being. And also I feel like something about the woman that interviews you just rubs you the wrong way a little bit. So then I said, like, when's the next one that comes in that she's really wanting to take, or that's like offered to her? That's like, and that feels more about like in August. July feels like quiet to me. I have to be honest. This isn't a you thing that I feel this way. So I want to say that very clearly, that it's not like I feel like you're the problem. I just feel like the job market and the way companies are running right now is the problem. It's not you. It's not like, why am I not attracting a great job? I just feel like corporations. Yes.
Stacey's watching you right now.
Oh, tell her to turn it off.
Okay.
Thank you. It's weird. Daisy, get off. That's my daughter. Like, stop watching me. It's weird. I just feel like corporations don't really treat their employees very well. And so it feels like a lot of people are feeling the lackluster feeling about working. That it's not like, why am I not finding a good job? What's wrong with me? It's literally like, it's not you. It's a lot of corporations right now. Why does she want to watch me? That's weird, right? I'm texting her. she's fairly, like, my kids are funny. They make me laugh a lot. And we're all a little weird. They're very smart. But I was like, why are you watching me? This emoji, and then like the crazy emoji with the tongue out. Divyansha Mishra. I don't do free readings. They're $12. I donate 30% to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. I'm going to tell you a really good reason why I don't do free readings. Hi, Rathka. The reason I don't do free readings is because I don't go into anybody's place of business and ask them to do their work for free. I think everybody deserves payment. I'm asking for like bare minimum. The other thing is when we're looking at wanting abundance in our life and yet we don't want to also then give into that abundance, it's sort of, you're sort of shortchanging yourself in a way too. I do take a critical eye when some people are like, you have to pay for what you want if you're wanting abundance, and they're charging $800. But I try to be reasonable because I recognize that not a lot of people have. There's also different currencies around the world. And so I try to keep reasonable prices because I recognize that people are coming from all over the world. But that's why I don't do free readings. I did free readings on here for a long time, and people became demanding and nasty and rude about it. And I thought, then that becomes me recognizing my own worth. And I still have bills and stuff to pay too. So I'm sure you understand. Joelle, it's been forever. How are you? I'm still taking questions. But but that's kind of why it took me a long time to do that. And then I also heard that theory about like, yeah, like if you're wanting to like create things in your life and like you want to bring things in to constantly be like, well, but I want it for free. I don't want to like also then lift up others, that you sort of get what you put into the world. Right. So that's the way I look at it. I oftentimes like, I don't tend to like bargain with people like, well, could you do it for this much? Because I'm like, well, if you set your rate at that and that's what you like, that's your worth and value, then like I can either afford it or I can't. And that's how I like, if I can afford you, then great, I will pay for it. And if I can't, then I recognize that I have to go get my needs met somewhere else of somebody that I can afford. So, all right. Devery. So you got your answer, right? Probably not what you want to hear. I think I just wanted to reiterate that it's like, it's not you being a quality enough worker. It's more about like places not really being great quality right now. And so whenever you buy secondhand, you always give their asking price. Yeah. Even with like, when you like, so here, some places, a plumber I really like now, they just have a list and they're like, this is what we charge for stuff. This is our rate. Like they're not, some people come out and be like, I had one contractor that I worked with a lot, but then he had workers that were Spanish speaking only. And I didn't like how he spoke about them, like that they weren't smart enough to like do the work, or like they're like, he would always kind of punch down on them, and it really bothered me because I just thought like, well, they are living in a country that's like not, and if you've been here anywhere long enough in a country that's like, even if it's not your first language, you still understand enough, right? And just because they don't speak the language doesn't make them unintelligent. That just really drives me nuts. And then when I asked him about one job about doing something in my bathroom, he gave me one price and I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask around and like get some other quotes. And he's like, oh, we'll do it. And he dropped it 1,000 immediately. And I was like, definitely never talking to you again. Like, I don't want to keep supporting someone who's so awful to their workers. Like, he's not awful to them, but I just don't like that talking bad about your workers thing. I think that that's really trash when you run a business. Personally, you do what you want, but I think, yeah. Anyway, he was also a drummer, and I'm not. So that was also the nail in the coffin. Okay. Julia, if you want to go, because I know it's late there, and then CB, Regine, Gia. Why did I go into that story? See, I'm getting my ADD has been a little bad lately. My daughter was like, did you forget about my food? I'm like, I swear to God, it's not that you're not important. My brain goes, oh, look over there. Now I am thinking of this thing over here. Is Lexi going to get on to her level 6 beauty course? Yeah. There's something about 3 weeks. So I don't know if there's a test in 3 weeks or entry in 3 weeks, but something about 3 weeks. And I feel like sails through it. Is she's having a hard time for the last 5 weeks on level 5 or on level 6? And that might just be like the language thing where when you're saying get onto, does that mean you're moving on her level 5? So I feel like intentionally level 5 is like this harder, weirder level. Like, are they specifically focusing on coloring on level 5? I also feel like the failure is more out of her own nerves rather than not her ability to do it. I also feel like she has a little bit of that forgetfulness that like literally everything is practice. And in her head, she feels like, well, some people get it and I just don't get it. And it's really like, no, you just have to practice a little bit more at this. Huh. It's funny. I saw bits of hair and I didn't know what that meant. Yeah, it just is. It's really just a practice of the technique more than anything. So maybe get out your legs for her. Don't shave for a little bit and let her practice. I don't know. I just feel like if she just practice, it's not that she's not good. It's just she just really does need to practice a little bit more. I also feel like it's just nerves. That once she moves on to 6, she'll sail through and 6 is easier. It's just this is not her thing. I'm actually glad it's not coloring because I was like, that's weird. Coloring seems like something she'll do a lot of, but but just make her practice, and then the whole family just whip out your legs and your chins. I'm just kidding. I don't know if you have a billy goat scruff. But I feel like her instructor just makes her really nervous. And remind her that everybody has to sit and wipe themselves at the end of the day. So she's just like her, just because she's the instructor. Like, not to panic. I watch these young girls and gentlemen and ladies ice skating, and like their coaches can be so tough on them when they get off the ice. I'm like, well, it's just ice skating. Like, this is not life or death. So if you just remind her, it sort of like helps relax it. Like at the end of the day, it like, yes, and you will pass. And like, it's okay if you're not perfect at it the first time. And even if you had to repeat it, which I don't think she'll have to repeat it, but even if you do, like, that's okay. That's not the end of the world. Like, all is well. Nobody is dead. We are all okay. Maybe that's like her lecturer has been hateful and refuses her to help her dyslexia. I don't know what they have there, but here they have the ADA, and she could get somebody to help support her through, you know what I mean? Like, help her be like, yeah, you have to. I don't know what they have there, but it might be worth looking into. You know, this is what's interesting is people are so interesting with all their own like biased ableist stuff in their own head. With my middle daughter and I wasn't going to get her because she made the honor roll the last marking period. This marking period, I think she'll make the principals list, which is all A's, honor rolls, A's and B's. And she has ADHD, and you know, she's coming home like very tired with the headaches and things like that. So I'm getting her. I wasn't going to get her 504, but now I'm getting it because of the visual stuff where I'm like, no, she really needs to not have time tests. But one of her teachers, who was her main teacher for math, where we had the most problems, because this woman is interesting, told the psychologist when she was getting evaluated for ADHD, she's like, I think she's just looking for reasons to be distracted. And I was like, I would love you to come stay at my house sometime and tell me about this looking for reasons to be distracted. That would be lovely. I would really appreciate that. And you can help her try and fall asleep at night because her little brain does not shut down. Yep. So there's that. Some people just don't believe that like brains can be different. It's rather interesting. And the beauty is just remind her that this is just one teacher, and even teachers can be idiots, because this one was. I mean, I can't tell you how many of my entire school district, like everybody was like, with my oldest daughter, when I was like, I'm pretty sure she's autistic. Like, we're getting her evaluated, but I'm pretty sure that's the issue here. And they're like, no, it's probably ADHD. I'm like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's autism. And like, I came back and I was like, yep, so she is autistic. And they're like, and I'm like, do you not know what stuff you don't know what stuff looks like. So just because somebody's a teacher doesn't mean they like really, he knows about waxing. That's what he knows about, and skincare. He doesn't know about brains. So she'll get into level 6. But I would also have her look into like either contacting the dean of the school and saying like, hey, she's dyslexic and she needs some supports. And if they're like, well, no, we don't do that, there's got to be somebody legally that you can contact that would be like, no, actually you have to. You're an accredited school and you're required to help students with disabilities. I don't know who that is in Scotland, but I know they have to have something. I'm certain of that. I've heard too many good things about Scotland to think that they would just like dump on somebody and be like, nope, sorry, you need supports and we're not giving them here. You just gotta like suck it up in your kilt and keep moving. Now, if that's not stereotyping, I don't know what is, because I don't think I've seen a kilt on your page. So the other thing I wonder is if they can give her a copy of the notes of the lecture, or if she can record the lecture instead of having to take notes and then put it into like a chat GPT or something like that. Or there's got to be like one specifically for school that could make it more digestible. Like if it's like, oh, hey, I have dyslexia and these are the notes. Can you make this easier for me to read, to follow, given my dyslexia? Here's where I struggle with dyslexia. Like these are the areas, because it's not everybody is the same. Like not everybody flips numbers or flips letters. Like there's all different kinds of, apparently I didn't know that. I just learned that recently. But worth a look-see at that, like having it reconfigure her notes to make it more digestible and easier to learn. The other thing I thought was really neat, my daughter's science teacher did this for one test where, do you know what those things are that are called the little fortune tellers, the little paper fortune tellers that you do this with? And like on one flap, you'd be like, okay, green, GREE, right? And it's like, what number? But he did it with lecture or like the topics for the test, and like flipping it on, it might be an easy way for her brain to like do something like that, where you make it a physical, like it's not just her reading, like it becomes a physical interaction. That might be like a good study guide for her. I know it's like sounds very childish, but like however you need to learn it, right? Like whatever gets around that, like working of the brain, that's a little more difficult. So those might be like helpful for her too. That might make it a little easier for her. Okay, I'm gonna move on. She's gonna get there. I think this is just like kind of a sucky teacher, but it's also then like about her brain. Our brains are so unkind to us sometimes, and they like, they tell us lies about how like, oh, we're failures, it's terrible. It's like, no, you just may need more practice than others. Like I need more practice. Like the woman that I also take lessons with, we take lessons at the same time. Like she's so good at going backwards. I'm like, God, you're like a speed demon. And I'm like, and I have a harder time. Like I need more practice on that, but I'm better at forwards crossovers. And it's like, it's just like some people, your strengths lie in different places. To remind her of that, to not like, she's not a failure. She's not terrible. It's just, this is just the way life is. And she probably has strengths that other people don't have because of her dyslexia. Just thinking of that. Okay. You're very welcome. CB, what's your question? And then we'll do Regine and Gia. I just want to make sure if the other person put in another payment. Joelle, I got you. Okay. CB, are you here? If not, Regine or Gia, or you could go. Whoever's here. What does Spirit say about my journey on TikTok? Energetically and spiritually, please. Wait, what? Did you start a page? Okay, my middle sister is dealing with some custody challenges regarding my niece. What is your middle sister's name? You did. Lady. I'm gonna have to follow you. Do I follow you? I think I follow you. I can't remember. CB, what's her first name? I can see you. You finally pressed the red button. Girl, I need to get back to pushing that red button. I've been so not good about putting myself out there. Well, I can tell you Niobe I feel really tight in my throat chakra. I'm kind of going between these, sorry. Can I do CB's first? Because I'm feeling pulled to that. I feel really tight in my throat chakra. So there is a lot of resistance of her around speaking her truth. There's a lot of resistance around how she communicates. I also feel like she can tend to attack first and think later. Like she's quick to draw. There's my rock. Your niece lives with her dad, and there's some parental alienation. Yeah. So my feeling is it would behoove her to when she communicates with him, to learn to communicate as if she's HR. It's hard not to fly off the handle when your kid's involved and she's like, oh my God, why am he's really insidious about the way he does it too. It's such a sneaky way. I feel like, is your niece 12? There's something around 12. So I don't know if your niece is 12 or when she's 12. It feels like things shift. She's 12. Okay. So this is dumb. Okay. This is not helpful for her right now, but I feel like by the time she's 16, she's like done with him. She sees exactly who he is, but it just takes a little bit of that time. The other thing is I feel like she needs to, everything needs to be in writing. Everything with him needs to be in writing. Like no phone calls, no back and forth with words. Everything needs to be in writing. And everything needs to be written like she is HR. Like everything is very professional. We aren't calling names. We aren't being very emotional. We are, and if she needs help, this is where like this would be a really great tip. Going through ChatGPT, putting in his text what he says, how would I respond if I was HR? Explaining there's parental alienation. How would I respond if I was HR? And then taking everything to court, have everything in writing, everything to court, and saying like, this is what's going on. There is parental or I feel as though there's parental alienation because this, and this is happening, and taking him to court over that, and being very like non-emotional. Just, this is what's happening. These are the facts. You don't even have to name it parental alienation. Just feel like, I'm not getting the time with my daughter. I feel like, this is what's being said. Everything in like writing though. And right now she really can't do a lot about it because of her age. But 16 feels more like, I'm out, I'm done. And we'll see the truth of, like, really see the truth of it. But it feels like for your sister, the best thing for her to do is not pop off. Remember, I was like, I feel like she just really said, like, and she doesn't think about it, she's saying it, where it's like, if everything is in writing before she hits send, like, take what he says and be like, how can I write this if I'm HR? So that it's like above board. The courts can't be like, well, you're attacking, and you're like, he has no ground to stand on. And she can't say, here's the other thing. You can't go, the partner's abuses. You just say, when this happened, this is what happened. This is what this was their response. So I'm telling you this from everything that comes across my feed I get like all kinds of stuff. And I think I get all kinds of stuff just because I think it helps people. I think whatever. And also, it reminds me of like, when I was a nurse and you chart legally, I could not say, well, the doctor's aware. I had to say, I notified the doctor on this date at this time that this occurred, or of this information, the patient's vital signs, blah, 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 what the patient's activity was. I can't say, well, the patient was acting dramatic. I have to say, the patient said this, the patient shouted, the patient whispered, the patient cried. Like, everything is very, this, right? Very objective. And so there is no emotion involved. I know that she's totally emotionally tied to this. This is garbage that this is happening to her. And also, it would be to her benefit to just be very like, this happened and this is how I responded. This happened and this is how they responded. Like, my daughter did this and I was told this was the response of the stepmother or the partner or whatever. Not abusive. They slapped her. They yelled at her. They shouted. They withheld dinner. They withheld their phone. And therefore my child was not able to contact me. And this is withholding contact with the mother, like, for this period of time. Like, be very specific and very clear. Email yourself everything. Email the attorney every time something happens, whatever. They'll set it up with like, this is the way you should do it. You should put it through this thing. The parents should communicate through this special app that goes through the courts. Like, they have that kind of stuff. It needs to be very detailed and very clear and not emotional and not, and that will get her what she needs. She will get the time that she wants sooner than that. I feel like by the time your niece is 13, she's going to have a better outcome. It just takes a little bit of time because going through the courts and all of that stuff. Maybe by 16, she's actually living with mom again. So it's just more about time and being like very thorough, and not like, you mother, even though she wants to say that to him and he probably deserves it. Or I'll beat your, like, you can't say that. You can say, this is very disappointing. As discussed in our court decree, we are supposed to have X, Y, and Z of a time, or I am supposed to have this sort of visitation, or I'm supposed to be allowed to talk to her every day as much as I want, whatever it is. And because you punished her and took her phone away, I no longer have access to her. That is concerning to me. That goes against our decree. Can you amend that punishment so that she has access to her phone to talk to me? Whatever it is. And so it's not that I think she definitely has like the ability to get what she needs, but it also requires that like, dear chat GPT, how should I say this if I was HR? Or how would I say this if I was charting as a professional? Like you have to like remove yourself from that wanting to jump out of your own skin and beat the living hell out of somebody's feeling. Because the courts will be like, yeah, that's like, But if they're like, hey, yeah, like she's like being totally reasonable and you're not. And it's hard to do. I'm not saying this is easy. Like I even imagine, that would not be fun to go through. And also if the goal is to have access to her daughter, the most access to her daughter, you have to. Like you don't get that choice. Unfortunately, we don't always choose great partners in life. And when you have children with that person, I mean, my parents divorced when I was 6, and they did not speak to each other again until like, I think they said hello at my wedding. And that was when I was like 30. Even when I moved in with my father, he handed me like a manila envelope, and I handed it to my mom, and it turns out it was the papers to say I was moving. Like he never contacted her and discussed anything with her, like nothing. That is highly toxic and horrible, and it's a horrible position to put a child in. It's a horrible thing. Like as a grown adult with children now, I'm like, what a fucking piece of shit. Like there is a piece of shit, but like I am now as an adult, like that was horrible, like horrible to do to your child and horrible to do to this woman. Like, I know. I mean, I have no doubt that it's not her. Um, I don't think, there's no part of me that's like, are you really being honest with yourself about who your sister is? Like, it feels manipulative. But I just feel like you sort of have to like always be the bigger person in the case in that circumstance, especially if you're, whatever he's doing will come back to bite him in the butt, especially if she's just really like, here's the information. This is what we discussed, or this was what was agreed upon within the thing. Like if because I just feel like it's also a lot of like, I'm going to punish you and take your, I keep coming back to that one. Like I'm taking your phone away, but now you have no access to your mom. Like we don't have a phone. We have a phone, but I don't really use it because like a phone, it was always like bill collectors calling for the last person that had the phone number. So like I just unplugged that phone. So we just use our cell phones in our house. And it feels like if she takes access away, then she has no. But she doesn't, here's the thing, she doesn't need retribution. She just needs to make sure she has contact with her daughter. Like that's all that really matters in the end. All of that karma will come back to him. They say like basically your children, like the person that you're with romantically may put up with a lot of your really abusive behavior, but your children won't. I mean, none of my father's children speak to him. None. And there's a reason for that. Because he's a horrible man. Like that will come back to bite him in the butt. All of that. All she needs to do is maintain a solid head. And all of that comes back to bite him. She doesn't have to give him that karma. It'll come through his own daughter when she decides she wants nothing more to do with him. But what your sister needs to do, because I just feel like it's all gonna like come back, but it's like I need to be really objective. I need to like everything has to go in writing. All communication with him needs to be in writing. Literally all communication needs to be in writing. And reminders of like, hey, remember our divorce decree? This is what it says. And then taking all of that documentation and bringing it to an attorney and saying, I feel like I'm being alienated as a parent. Here's all of my documentation. This is what's been going on. Can you help me? And I feel like it gets turned around, but it just feels like it takes a little bit more time. I don't feel like she's just 12. I feel like she might be like 12 and a half. And so it just takes a little bit of time to go through the courts. So by the time she's 13, mom's going to have more time with her. It's not going to be as big of an issue. And even maybe by the time she's 16, your niece may be wanting to live with her again or already living with her again. Okay, now I'm going back to Miss Regine, who asked about her tiki-taki. Okay, Regine, I just keep feeling with that TikTok. Do you want to share it here so other people can follow you? She was struggling with affording an attorney as she turned 12 in January. Does anyone on here know? I feel like you're very welcome. I feel like she'll find someone. I don't know if it's like there's not pro bono or somebody that would help. But I feel like if she has all the documentation and she's showing that she's like communicating in a really sound way, an objective way, it's not going to be anything more than either a letter or whatever. Okay, everybody, if you're on TikTok, Divine Regine 777, that's where you want to go.
House placement. That
some astrology thing that's telling me that I'm going to be the winner of the lottery. I don't know. I got you. Got you. All right, lady. Lady, you already have 760 followers. That's amazing. All right. I actually wouldn't be surprised if you hit 1,000 followers. I keep getting 10, and I don't think it's 10 weeks. I feel like it's 10 days. I'll watch them and see, but it's a feeling of like, stop holding back. There's an energy of like, don't hold back anymore. Don't hold back anymore. Like when you're authentically like just out there and you're like not worried about what people are going to think. Because the other thing is like there's going to be people are like, oh, you're not for me or whatever. But like, okay, there's like plenty of people that I'm like, I don't want to follow just because they're, spiritual and I'm into spiritual things. Like I don't vibe with them at all. I feel like by the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if you're at 5,000. Just like keep going and being consistent. And also I feel like it's just like the practice thing. Like the more you do it, the better you get at it, the easier it feels. I've been struggling because I haven't been doing it in so long that I'm like, oh my God, like it's like you're a little more in your head. And I'm saying that as someone who's in their head a little bit too much. But just keep going, keep doing it. Wait, what is yes in 2 weeks? 760 followers in 2 weeks? That's amazing. That's amazing. Just keep going, keep doing them. The other thing is like go live and do lives because TikTok right now loves lives. If you can do that, would you feel comfortable doing lives? Just doing little oracle readings for people live. And you can do it as like donations accepted if you don't feel like putting a price tag on it. But I feel like just keep going and have fun with it. Yeah, you're doing great. There's like I haven't seen you. So I feel like it's weird because I feel like I get shown stuff and then not shown stuff. Like big creators aren't showing up. I feel like TikTok's got a weird algorithm-y thing right now, but don't let that discourage you. Just keep going. I also feel like expand out a little bit too, like maybe making some of those and recording them. It's like when you record them, like put them over on Blue Sky, or not Blue Sky. What's the other one that's connected to Blue Sky, but it's not Blue Sky. It's like you keep all of your content, even if Blue Sky goes away. Is this it? Skylight Social. This app runs on the AT protocol. You will need to create a Blue Sky account if you don't already have one. So it's like Blue Sky and then the Skylight. I feel like having a couple different places where you've got your content. No. So here's the thing, like I think if you feel like, oh my God, I have to protect myself, then you have to protect yourself. If you're just like, whatever, the universe only sends me really kind people, like only the right people ever see me, and you create that belief system, then guess what? That's what you create. Like the other thing I always think is like, well, yeah, like some people aren't going to like me. Okay. And anytime somebody's negative towards me, it only brings me like more business, more eyes, better things, better energy. I mean, I don't know. I had a post that I had, like the biggest post I had go was like, it was like 360,000 views, and I privated it after that. We're friends now, so I think you can see it. And it was a prediction about this tall couple. I said, they're going to break up. They won't last. And he's the problem. Total narcissist vibes. And they did break up. And I definitely think he's the problem. Like she's more vocal about this new relationship she's younger. There was an age gap. He was like 31 or whatever. But like, there was just like, I had that feeling about him. And then I saw things that actually were like, oh yeah, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. And I privated it. But what was interesting is before I did, this guy created a fake account. I know he did. Because I could feel his energy through it. Went to my next video that I posted. He was like, called me like a horse face. Like, listen, there's some really hot farriers out there. So if I'm a horse face, I'll take a farrier any day, right? Otherwise. And he's like, oh, and you're single. Because I don't wear my wedding ring because I have way too many sensory issues. And I just, I don't want to deal with it. And it doesn't mean I'm less married. It doesn't mean I run around and screw around with people or anything else. I just don't wear a ring. I am still very married, and I am very like not looking for anybody else. But like people are going to say mean things, and you can either just be like, oh my God, that's the worst. Or you just be like, okay, what's the source here that's like sending that? I think I also remind myself that when people are mean or negative, like you have to be in a really awful space to go in and just attack somebody. Like you cannot be a happy person and feel the need to tear somebody else down. You can't be secure in who you are as a person and feel the need to tear somebody else down. I think he's that guy. I think he said he was in another relationship and it's the marriage material. And I was like, okay. Like that's still another red flag to me. Like you just got out of this one who was like, whatever. So no, I don't feel like you have to protect yourself. I just feel like you sort of have to understand that when you put yourself out there, you're opening yourself up to people having opinions about you. And then you need to decide, do their opinions really matter to me? Like you want to look at it like, yes, I want to create content that is pleasing to people because that's the point of it, right? But also like not to like cry if not everybody likes it, because like you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea and with 7 billion or 8 billion people in the world. Like you're just not. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And I'm like, okay, great, move on, you know? But I know the fear of starting it, right? I know that fear of like, oh my God, what if? And it's like, then you get to this point where you just go, what if they do? And then they do, and it happens, and somebody's like, and you just like block and like, okay, like, so you think I'm a horse face? Great. Like, okay. Oh my God, you think I have a big forehead? I've been told that too. Well, I do. And guess what? I have a big brain that fits behind that big forehead. Great. Like, okay. I'd rather have a big forehead than a little one. I personally, sorry if you have a little forehead. I prefer my big forehead. This is what it is. I've been told all kinds of things. Like, I don't know. No one will ever be meaner to you than your family has been mean to you. At least in my case, no one will ever be meaner. No one could ever be crueler to me than my own family. So like, it's like, I don't know, like, okay, you could never hurt me as much as I've already been hurt in my life. So keep going. And the other thing is like, the people who are going to judge you, like, they're not paying your bills. Like, for, you know, if someone's like, oh my God, you're cringy, or you're like, whatever, like, anybody in your real life that's judging that, well, are they providing your happiness, and B, are they providing your bills? Because if they're not doing either of those, their opinion does not matter. If they are not the resources for those two things in your life, then they do not matter when it comes to you following your own gut on what you want to be doing in life. Period. And this is coming from someone who had to overcome like that fear of that, of like, oh my God, what are people going to think? Like, fuck it. You know, who cares what they think? Honestly, because if they aren't providing happiness and they aren't providing money for your bills, they don't get a say. And you'd be like, well, why would you want that? Well, because it's what I want. You don't have to want this. Like my mom was saying, I follow this woman, Whitney Hewland, because she's like, it's really about mindset, but it's like how to be famous or whatever like that. And it's not like I want to be famous. Like I want to be well known for what I do, because like I want the steady income, right? And it's really, she teaches about mindset, and I'm all about mindset. I am all about like reprogramming your brain and all of that, you know, neuroscience-y stuff. But my mom was talking about like, why would people want to be famous? And I'm like, it occurred to me where she got that from, because she follows me on social media. Sometimes she watches me, but like, you don't have to want the things that other people want. It's the beauty of the world. When you're creating and manifesting things, like not everybody wants the jobs and wants to live in the places you want to live. I think LA, there's some really beautiful aspects to it. There's some really wonderful people I've met out there, but I have zero desire to live out there. That is like not a town for me. I feel like people don't love their bodies enough out there, and I'm not into that. Like there's a lot of like performative stuff out there, and I just want really authentic people. And not saying that there's not authentic people, but there's just an energy out there that's like not for me, right? I don't know how well I'd fit in out there, or I definitely would stand out there in a way that might not be good. I love San Antonio to visit. I don't know that I'd want to live there. And I grew up going there all the time. Like, but there are people that dream of living in these places, or people that dream of living in Tennessee. Zero desire. I'll visit there. Zero desire to live there. Not my thing. I liked visiting Florida to go to Disney. I have zero desire to live there. I don't want to live I don't want to ever live in Houston again. Never, ever. Lots of people want to live there forever and ever. So my point to you is like, follow your dreams. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about like, there's no need to protect yourself. You are safe and protected. People can't steal your energy or your light unless you allow them and give them permission to do that. That's how that all works. That's the idea of like creating sigils and protection spells and all of that stuff, is creating that mindset. And you need the like this, I hold this, whatever. I don't need this to do a reading. I can sit on my couch. I can sit wherever I'm at. I can sit watching my kids ice skate and do a reading if it's not too noisy. And it's really just the noise factor, because my brain starts looking around for stuff. I can do a reading wherever I'm at. I just like to, it's a comfort rock, right, for me. But otherwise, I am safe and protected where I'm at. My guides keep me safe. Just maintain and hold that space, and you're good with it. So that's what I'm going to say about that. What's your other question? You're very welcome. I also feel like you might benefit from putting on, if you want to like make some extra money, doing like some Etsy, sell some of your readings on Etsy, like whatever. Quick tarot pull, quick question answer, or whatever, over email might work out for you. like it'll be connected or something. There's gonna be something connected where you do like little individual readings. What's your second question? How do things look financially as we roll into that? You're going to have money coming in from multiple sources. I think I've said that to you before, and I think this is actually going to start parlaying where you're going to make. It's not that you're making initially enough to live on through this, but it feels like enough to add a little extra padding to it where you don't feel so nervous. That's fabulous. Congratulations. It feels like keep doing that. That's going to come back to you. Hi. I don't know how you say your name. How are you? I don't know if you mean that way, but that is a little concerning of a name. I don't know how to say your name, but Juhai? Okay. Do you know what 88 means? I would not use 88. I'm just saying that. You make it 3 or 1, but not 2. Unless you mean it to mean that, and then that's very concerning. These are not free readings. They're $12 a question, which is very minimal. And 30% goes to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. But I've got other people on the list ahead of you. So financially, I feel like you're going to do well. Like by the end of the year, I feel like you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Like I get this feeling of like pride and pleasantly surprised at how well I'm doing. Like taking that chance to put yourself out there really was a good thing. Gia, what's your question? You're welcome. What messages does my Grandma Patricia have for me? She her tone is very like it's very slow, like very thoughtful, very deliberate in the way she speaks. She makes me feel like she doesn't mince words at all. And she's sort of saying, she and I are talking about like seeing people for who they are and being smart about seeing people for who they are. She comes to you a lot through your intuition about like she's the one who gives you warnings about people. Make sure that you listen to the red flags and see them and heed them. She saw a lot in her time. She's making me feel like she like knowing how to walk through the weeds, knowing how to move through the alligators, she's calling them, you know, the people that are just not safe. She says she finds her way to you in your dreams. She keeps you protected in many, many ways. Like I almost feel like when she was alive, she was more of your protector than your parents were. Does that make sense when I say that? What time is it? Yeah, I guess so. I still haven't gotten to, but it'd be after Joelle. And then, yeah, because I just feel like she's very protective of you. She even had me feeling like she's like covering your eyes and protecting you from things in the world. Um, it's interesting because you feel like you need her insight. She's like, she doesn't need my insight, but I am always protecting her. Um, she just says, she's like, she just has to listen and she'll always hear me. I don't know if she was really religious, but she calls people wicked because she was just saying that she's like, the world is wicked. The people can be wicked, but I will protect her from that. Um, do you worry about, um, how do I say it diplomatically? You know what she means by that. Okay. I feel like maybe you're in an environment where you need to be more protective of yourself. Say, maybe you're like the blue dot in the red state or red county or whatever like that. And I just feel like she's making me feel like you don't need to worry about that you are well protected. Like she is keeping you well protected. And so even if you're floating among rooms where it feels like it's not that safe, she's watching over you and protecting you in those spaces so that you're able to like move through the crocodiles or alligators without getting chomped. So I feel like she had to work in spaces like that, and she knew how to communicate and keep herself safe, and yet, like, you know what I mean? And I feel like she's really keeping you safe in those situations. Yeah. Um, there is going to be change in 3 months. There's something about 3 months and there's something about 5 months. So I don't know if it's that like I have the money in 3 months and I'm starting to look and like for places and I move in 5 months, but there's something about 3 and 5 are sticking out to me. But I don't feel like it's that long before you're able to leave. I also get the feeling of like not telling people you're going to leave, not talking about the moves you make, that it has to be really quiet. Like, I don't know that you're literally going to be moving in the dead of the night, but it feels like I'll be gone before anybody knows it. So like with her, know that she is like, I don't even want, she's like, oh, I'm no angel. Cause I'm like, she's like a guardian angel. She's like, I'm not an angel, but she's highly protected over you. Protective over you. So remember I said so when you create that assumption, that's what you receive. You can move in the energy of, I am always protected and safe. My guides always look over me. The universe has always got my back. So even if somebody tries to send me energy, A, it just backfires on them, and B, it just brings me more more you can say it's like it brings me more business, or it brings me more affluence, or it brings me better things and more blessings. You can spin that around. But I just also feel like the idea of it is like, if I tell somebody my dreams and my hopes, you're going to, and then now open it up to their own disbelief that could then be like somehow put on you. Like my mom would say, this is what I thought was funny. And I finally said to her, like, oh, that's what I was thinking. She's like, well, I don't want to win the lottery because then you have all the taxes to pay. I was like, yeah, but then you have all the money to pay the taxes. Like, who cares? Done. Pay it. You still have more money than you did the day before. Like it's that idea of like somebody could say like, or, if you had this wild dream to be like whatever it is, and someone's like, oh, but like, who would want that? It's like, well, but I do. Like, you're opening it up to that energy. But I don't think it's necessarily like curses. Not that I think that that's what you meant, but I'm clarifying that for anybody listening. You're very welcome. Okay. Joelle and then Kay. And then I get to go help my daughter with Italian homework, and I still need to walk on the treadmill. My goal, I've been really good about like trying to get 10,000 steps a day, and I've also been doing dry brushing. Turns out what I thought was cellulite is probably lipedema. So like, it's not like huge, and like my legs aren't totally like whatever, but like it's like I need to do like decongested work, and we're doing castor oil, so I'm like gonna be like all that fun stuff. It's my self-care era. That's my Saturn and Neptune and Aries. It's my glow up. All right, so Joelle, what was your question? Joelle, are you still here, or did you fall asleep on me? And then Kay, if you're here, you want to ask your question since I'm waiting on Joelle. You asked Charlie what he wants me to know about knowing who my spouse is, and told a mixture of info since I was 15 from mediums. Told I'll meet them by a friend. Also told. Can I ask you something? Do you ask to, and this is like not a judgment thing, it's just a curiosity thing. Do you ask to speak to your grandfather because it feels safer to you than speaking to guides? I'm just curious. It feels safer to talk to grandpa than your guides? You trust Charlie. Trust your guides too. And the reason why I say this is because I don't think Charlie will lead you astray. It's not that. It's just that Charlie's closer to human form, and sometimes your guides are like their access to different information. I mean, it doesn't matter either way. I'm just curious. So, okay. Just curious if that's what it is. Like, I'm not talking to any kind of devils or anything like that. I have, not that I'm like connecting with them on the regular, but like I have connected with lower entities, not through readings. I sort of set a space out different than that, but like being confronted with them because they're connected to land and things like that. They're just very different. It's whatever you want to do. I was just asking if that's, so you can ask your spirit guides or you can ask Charlie, it doesn't matter. But like, I will tell you that spirit guides have a different energy that are easy. It's almost easier to connect into. And sometimes your loved ones are like, well, like they don't carry the same energy, I guess, is what I've noticed. Maybe other mediums would say something differently. But I typically love to tell you this. I don't go to my family members for advice because I know who they were in life. And while I love them dearly, uh, they were human and they're closer to human, and they weren't evolved humans. Um, so, okay. I want you to know that I don't get scary energy from any, like, I don't know. I'm not connecting with scary energy. I wouldn't connect with anybody that's not for your highest good. I will say he is still here, and Charlie says, like, it's good for you to learn to trust your own intuition. He's making me feel like he was actually really intuitive, especially with what he did working in the military. That's really what kept him moving up and doing as well as he did, and earning all of those medals. Okay. I feel like your partner is I actually wouldn't be surprised if she's like of Scottish descent or Irish descent, because I keep seeing somebody with like a rounder face and freckles, shorter hair, lighter, not necessarily red, but has like maybe strawberry blonde or red undertones or like auburny color. There's a reddish to it, fairer skin. She feels very warm and like she enjoys life and laughing at life, and she doesn't take it too seriously. She knows how to find the joy in life, which she doesn't overanalyze everything. um, I feel like she helps you stay grounded. um, it's like focused and centered and helps you find those things, and also is really emotionally available and a great sounding board. And it feels like she's a really healthy relationship. I feel like when you find her, it's not because she's going to rescue you, it's because you've done the work. And so you've opened yourself up to like allowing love from somebody like this into your life. Um, so there's two things I'm getting now. So I feel like one, um, when you meet her and you said you got readings when you were like 15, it's like that person couldn't have imagined this person in your life as a partner, um, because of how well she'll love you. And that person wouldn't have felt that she deserved that type of love. Um, I also see her as being like somebody who finds the humor in life, like meaning like the humor in the absurdity of life and people. I feel like she's very comfortable in her own skin. She's very smart. Um, she talks a lot, but not like in a bad way. It's not like, oh my God, does she ever stop? It just feels like you don't have to worry about like, did I meet somebody who won't talk? Like sit at a table and they don't have conversations after. It's like she um, likes to share what's going on in her mind and the way her mind works and experiences the world. She likes to share that with you, so you don't feel like you have to have like this person that you're prying the information out of. She might have some stomach issues or a history of like reflux or something like that. I just keep hearing over and over like she's happy. So I feel like maybe you haven't had the best experience in relationships, where maybe you felt like you had to carry the weight emotionally. I don't know if that resonates at all. Yeah, you're not going to have to do that in this case. And again, it feels like because when she comes in, you kind of have already been doing, I talk about the self-concept work and like what follows I am is really important. And like looking at, this is why I love law of assumption, because what it did for me was not just understanding my own power and starting to bring in the things that I want, but it also made me just look at life, my own life and my own experiences, rather with judgment against myself or judgment in others. It was like, oh, that's interesting. Where would I get that belief system? I became the observer, which doesn't mean I intellectualized everything, but when I understood this is what works for me, when I understand where it comes from, like, oh, I don't have to hold on to that anymore. It allowed me the opportunity to release things. A very good example is I had an experience with someone so I was learning communication styles, and always thought that I had a really bad communication style because the way I grew up, like you, I had this very skewed. I always thought I was the problem because of the way I grew up, like with like not, neglect and all of that stuff. And so I approached this person. I was like, oh, when you did that, it embarrassed me. Would you be willing to apologize? And my therapist, like before I went in, she was like, okay, so like when you do this, like remember, it's like, it's just information. You can't make somebody react a certain way. You can't make somebody do something. These are requests and they just give you information. And this person was like, no, I won't apologize. And I was like, okay. And so when I brought it back to my therapist, I was like, yeah, they didn't want to apologize. And she's like, well, what is it? She goes, well, how do you feel about it? And I didn't know how to process feelings. And like, it always does take me a little bit to kind of like, and I was like, oh, I guess it's just information. And then a couple of years later, I was like, that was kind of an asshole move. Like, all I asked for was an apology. I didn't like ream them into the ground and make them feel like they were a horrible person. I was just like, hey, that made me feel kind of crappy. And I was embarrassed. Would you be willing to apologize? And so like, that's another layer of the healing, is like, you get to that spot of it. And then the third layer of healing, I realized, like I owed myself an apology, like that version of me, an apology. I felt really sad for that version, that version couldn't see that they were worth more than that. Like it was another layer, right? And like this, like wanting, like this stage of like wanting to go back then and like love that version of me and console that version of me that didn't know how to like be like stand up for me, right? So my point of this is like, you're going to be doing all this work, that you're going to be allowed then to open up and receive this person that can fully, like, it doesn't mean you can't be loved in these other stages, but like this person that can be involved in a relationship in a really healthy way. It doesn't mean your relationship will be perfect. It doesn't mean that you aren't at odds with each other. It means that you will work together to grow in relationship and heal in relationship together. And this person's willing and capable of doing that. Okay. May I leave you with that? Joelle, are you still here? I don't know if Joelle is here. She might have fallen asleep. It's so late there. Maybe I'll have to reach out to her. Oh, you're here. Okay, what's your question? And the other thing is I was able to take that lesson and take it to my daughter, who was having issues with a little girl at school this year, where this little girl was like, my kids have curly hair, like me, big surprise. Different texture, different styles and stuff, but like they have curly hair. And my middle one like went to school and she had washed her hair in the morning, so her hair was a little bit tighter curl, and the like the girls were like, it looks like your hair's snarly. I was like, well, your hair's clearly not snarly because you can brush a comb through it very easily. Like it's not snarly. And these two little girls decided to brush her hair out in one of her classes. And she's like, and then when you brush out curly hair, guess what? It gets frizzier. And she's like, it felt poofy. And I didn't like it. And I was like, so you have to tell him. She's like, okay. And this little girl was like, oh, no. It did that because you don't wear the right hair product, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, so she just didn't apologize and say, I won't do it again. She's like, no. I was like, you need to remember that. I said that when you're asking for something very simple with boundaries and that person isn't willing to respect it or willing to step up to it, it doesn't mean like you need to fight and tell them they have to act the way that you don't. I said, you just take that as a note that that's somebody that you don't want to be in relationship with then. And like, you can take that into any relationship. Whereas like, if you're asking for something very simple and they're not willing to like come to that, like that speaks volumes about who they are in their character. So here's what I will tell you. I will tell you that we as readers are filters, and we get information based on our own experiences and where we're at in our own journey. So I may be getting stuff around how healed a person is and where they are in relationship with you and like things like that, because I'm the colander for that. I'm the filter for that, right? That's the way it works. Maybe they're picking up other things. Is it vastly different from what I'm getting? I don't know. I can also tell you that we can interpret things differently. I can tell you that when I'm reading, but not mediumship, but when I'm reading energy, I'm reading a facet of time in the direction that you're going, where you're at right now. So can things change? Sure, you could change things in the direction of where it's going. That's what I'm reading right now. The other thing is, we can be wrong. No one is 100% on this. So what I would do if I were you, if I'm sitting there going to a reader, I look at how right are they about other readings I've gotten? Are they able to provide evidential information that says like they're pretty right about some stuff? If you walk away from a reading and it feels icky, maybe not. Like, you don't have to like take all the information that they say. And I could tell you there's a reader on here that I got a reading from, and she's got a lot of followers. Oh my God, you're so amazing. You're so great. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, you're fabulous. I read for her within a week. Everything I said to her, like, was like, I was like, oh, you're like, I was picking up on her illness before she was physically ill. And she was like, not very nice to me. And there was like a 30-minute reading, and half the reading she sat and talked about this celebrity that she had read for. And then she's like, well, I got to go. I got my next reading. Like, so I didn't get what I paid for, and nothing that she said came to pass. Zero. And when I listen to her readings now, I'm like, okay. So I don't know. I guess I always say like, kind of trust your gut on it too. Like, cause like, you know, I appreciate you too. And it's okay. Like, I don't feel like, oh my God, like, why are you going to Miller? Like, maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe I am wrong. I think everybody who's doing this should be open to the fact that they can be wrong. Because if you're moving through it that you have to be right, or there's no way and everybody else is wrong, then you're moving through a reading from your ego. And that's not good for anybody. And everybody has an ego. There's nothing wrong with it. But like, when you're providing a service to somebody else, it can't be about you. It has to be about the person you're reading for. So I could be wrong about the looks, but like, I'm going to tell you one reading I did, and I love this one so much. Like, This is a woman that I went to high school with. I wasn't friends with her in high school. She's closer to my friend that I am now friends with. Like we knew each other in high school. She and I, she was the softball manager. I played softball terribly, by the way. I was not fabulous at it. But I had fun. So, I mean, I was okay. Like I made the varsity team, but I was not like star player always out. I was like, not at all. There's much better players than me. I also I was not serious about it. And, so my friend, who is now my friend, she sent this other girl to me. I was like, hey, get a reading from her, whatever. And this person, I was like, she was asking about future partners. She was with someone who I was like, you're definitely not staying with this person. She was definitely very unhealthy for her, not a good match. And I was like, oh, it's going to be somebody that you already know. She's a little bit older than you. And I said, like, short hair, whatever. What's crazy is she ended up marrying somebody else that I went to high school with, that I played softball with. I think we played softball together. We knew each other. We had classes and stuff like that. But I didn't get her as me already knowing her. And she's in my memory bank. She's in, like, I could have been like, oh my God, you're going to get introduced to this girl. And like, it's so crazy. Like, it was someone from her past. And what's crazy is when she met her, she had longer hair. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I saw somebody short hair. But then like I saw a picture of her when they got married, she had short hair. So keep that in mind too, that I might be seeing a snippet of her when you're actually married, rather than like when you meet her. Maybe she has longer hair when you meet her. But I saw somebody with hair about shoulder length. So keep that in mind. And that's it. Okay. Joelle, there's your question. A general reading, if that's okay. I guess I'm thinking more of work-related issues, but no specific question. Okay. So when I'm looking at your work, Joelle, I see very chaotic. I just feel like a little swamped. And I feel like sort of things are kind of in disarray around the restaurant. That's kind of what I'm being shown. I'm actually not shown your job. I feel like your job is status quo. Why do I feel like there's a big transition in with the restaurants? Are you at that point where you're transitioning from one thing to another, or transitioning spaces, or and I also feel like you're taking a lot more of the workload on so are you transitioning out of your full-time job into just doing the restaurants? Oh, wait, you said yes, but I don't know what yes means. What is yes to? Sorry. That's what happens. I don't look at, you're trying to change the concept, taking over more for my dad. Okay, perfect. Time frame isn't going to sound great, but I want you to understand that it doesn't mean it's like it's terrible until this time and then it's great. It just feels like I feel better in November. So it's going to be like this continual transition, sort of working it out and figuring it out until November. And it's like 5 months and it sucks, but it's not like I don't feel like you're going to have business or whatever, but it feels like working out the kinks. So like finding what works, what doesn't work. I feel like you're going to get like, it's sort of like figuring out the menu, what sells and what doesn't sell, what people like and then by November, I feel like I have a very tight menu and it's running a lot smoother. So it just feels like until then, we're sort of playing in transition. I also feel like I'm sitting in your energy from a business. If we as a business are sitting together, it's like, if we're really open with our customers and our clientele, that's what's happening, they're cool with it. But if we're kind of like, if we're just like, hey, we're just trying to work it out and like get so things might change a little bit, whatever, they're cool with it. I actually feel like you're going to have a core group of women that will come in and be like, love being the guinea pig part of it, love giving their input. And it feels like if you include them in it, they grow this attachment to your space more than they would if you were just like, you're outside there. If they're like, hey, we're trying out new things. Can you give us feedback? What do you think? You think this should work? What would you do different? What would you like to see? It feels like if you become like a community, like you become the third space for people. So that space where people are like, we definitely want to go there. This is our regular space. Is it like a coffee shop? with menu, but like I feel like there's also like a lot of I keep seeing like a lot of little pastries and like this idea of like people wanting to come and spend time there. It's not just like eat and run. You have 2 places until September running 1 place. Got it. Okay. I keep seeing like lighter tile and lighter, like it just feels really open and airy and light feeling. I do feel like your dad's being a bit of a curmudgeon, I have to say. Like I don't feel like dementia, I just feel cranky. Um, he doesn't mind giving over. It's like I don't mind giving over the responsibilities, and also I want it to be done my way. Like he doesn't mind, but he still wants to be in charge. He wants to retire, but he's not. Like his mind won't let him. Yeah. I remember when my father-in-law retired, he worked at the same place my husband works at, and he would still go in all for a long time. He would still go into the office even though he was retired because he loved working. He liked um, what he did, and it was really hard for him to give it up. I can't remember what it was that finally kind of he stopped going in. Why he finally stopped going in. I don't remember what it was, but it took him a while to kind of transition out of it. Right. And I have to tell you, I don't see it just being a pizza shop. It feels like it transitions over to more like a cafe, coffee type place. Because I feel more like breakfast, lunchy versus dinner. Though I think later it turns to offering a few nights a week a dinner or something like that. Yeah. Lebanese cafe. It just feels lighter fare. And I think of Lebanese food as being kind of lighter fare. I don't feel like you're going to have an issue with that. I do feel like it would be really nice. Like, I don't know why it feels like when you include them and be like, what do you think? Do you like this? Would you like where you make it like their neighborhood place? Then it becomes a neighborhood place. Not like, oh, these people don't know what they're doing. Just sort of like, hey, we're open, to suggestions. We're sort of playing around with the menu right now. These are some of our ideas. What do like, how do you like the food? Would you rather something else? Or like for like a month or so, we're going to kind of just like be rotating the menu to figure out what it is. Do you think we should do a rotating menu where Mondays we serve this, blah, blah, blah? But I feel like what you're going to end up with is a really tight menu. So then you do it well, what you do well. Perfect. I'm glad it was helpful. All right, then. I'm going to say goodnight because we've been on here over 2.5 hours. And I wanted to make sure I got through everybody's questions just because I haven't been on for a couple weeks. I apologize. I will be back at it now regularly. I can't believe we're almost at the end of the school year. So there's just been a lot of activities and things going on. Please come back next week. I missed you all. And I hope you have a fabulous week. Do you want me to pull a card quick? Like, do you want for everybody? Do you want an inner child card, a green witch oracle deck, an animal oracle, or a message from your angel? Anyone? If not, I'm good to go, but I'm also happy to pull one since I have it here. Okay, an animal card. Is that what y'all want? Is everybody good with that one? I'm going to do 3. You guys pick which one resonates with you. How does that sound? Or I could do, I'll pull 3. I'll put them in a pile 1, 2, 3. You pick the number and then I'll read all 3. Let's do it like that. Like all the other readers do. That way you don't feel like, what's the likelihood of everybody having the same one? All right. I can't show you the shuffle because I don't have it set up that way. I don't have 85 cameras. I'll do it. Okay. Do it. 1, 2, and 3. Everybody can do their own way. Okay. So pick 1, 2, or 3. They all look like this. They're just 1, 2, or 3, whichever you're drawn to. You can visualize in your eye 3 piles. 1, 2, or 3. I'll give you 10 seconds. 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 5, 1,006, 1,007, 1,008, 9, 10. Okay, got it? All right. The first card is the Seahorse Spirit. It says, watch and wait. 53. I'll show you the card a little bit longer so you can see it, connect with it. And it says, Seahorse Spirit, watch and wait. Oracle message. Hovering gracefully, the seahorse observes with the perspective of one who is not engulfed by the drama, remaining at a distance from all of the turbulence. Seahorse Spirit appears at this time to remind you of the need to be neutral and gain perspective. Your message from the Seahorse Spirit is, not my circus, not my monkeys. Spirit wants you to know that even if you are tempted to jump into the fray and try to fix things, the best way to serve yourself and others right now is to remain calm and simply watch and see. Another message here is that whatever your query, Seahorse Spirit asks you to step back from it. Be willing to explore things from different angles rather than a single one, and just observe what is possible. From the perspective of the position of the neutral observer, you will discover a myriad of opportunities and a deeper understanding of what you seek and why. And you will know beauty, truth, love, and wisdom. And I'm not going to read the protection ones because plus it was upright. So the second card is also upright, Butterfly Spirit. Did you pick number 2? And it is transformation is beautiful. That way. There you go. Transformation is beautiful. Seahorse. That was the exact one you needed. And who picked the butterfly? And that is number 11. So that might also have a meaning for you, number 11. You could also look up angel oracle number like 53, angel number 53, and see if that means anything for you, or if 53 connects for you in some way. So butterfly is number 11. Butterfly Spirit. Transformation is beautiful. Oracle message. Joy and the beautiful lightness of being alive and creative in the world is the focus when Butterfly Spirit flutters before you. Transformation is inevitable as you grow into your most beautiful, empowered self. Indeed, you will go through some uncomfortable stages as you let go of the forms of your life that no longer fit the new you. Even relationships must go through shifts to match your new emerging self. If you focus on the beauty and not the challenges, stop taking yourself too seriously and choose to be playful, loving, and joyous, you will soon know the miracle your soul wants to experience through you. Today is a day for joy, so alight. Look around and see the beauty that is everywhere and in everyone, including you. Okay. 2 for Regine, 1 for Julia. I don't know if anybody else is here. The last one is 52, the Scarab Beetle Spirit. Magic works through you. The scarab beetle is sacred in the Egyptian culture. So you could also look up more about the scarab beetle. 52, you could also look up angel number 52. And that is Scarab Beetle Spirit. Magic works through you. Oracle message. In ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered for the creative magic of Scarab Beetle Spirit. Reminds us that we can bring forth something extraordinary, seemingly out of thin air. Manifestation. Whenever you let your creativity flow through you, Scarab Beetle Spirit reminds you that Spirit has given you the gift of infinite potential. You have an ally as you fashion something new or repurpose the old. For Spirit co-creates with you, channeling energy through you so that you feel replenished and vitalized as you make magic with what is at hand. Now is a time for great optimism, for you can accomplish anything you desire and your creative endeavors will come to fruition. Miracles, opportunities, abundance, and love will appear seemingly out of nowhere as you allow Spirit to work through you and magically manifest what you need. All right. So that's it. I hope you have a fabulous week, and I will see you next Sunday. Be good to yourselves. Toodles.